I'd like to start with Stephanie Rojas from the Rockland Housing Action Coalition. Stephanie is a senior counselor for the Rockland Housing Action Coalition, and she every day sees people and helps them work through their challenges. And I thought we'd ask her, tell us what your organization does and how do you go about sitting down with somebody and what is the process like? And take a microphone, please.
Hi. We are a HUD-approved foreclosure prevention counseling agency. We're a not-for-profit. We get grants from federal, state, and local government to run our agency. So all of our counseling, all of our counseling services are free of charge. What we do is, the main thing that we do is we will negotiate with the bank on your behalf. So if anyone is behind or worried about being behind, they'll call us. We do an intake where we get all of your mortgage information and kind of get a snapshot of your situation, and I can evaluate from there, you know, the best route. There's several options open. There's several options open to everybody. Not everything is going to be a modification. There's repayment plans, which is when they spread your arrears out over a certain period of time. There's short sale. There's a loan modification. There's deed in lieu and foreclosure. So it just depends on everyone's situation, what the best option.
Could you explain a loan modification? What is that?
Technically, a loan modification is any kind of modification to the terms of your loan. Everyone now, you hear about lowering interest rate and things like that, but it can also be just taking your arrears and putting it into the principal, so your principal goes up. It can be lowering the interest rate, lowering it for a certain amount of time. It's any kind of modification to the regular terms of your loan. So we do a lot of those. And
so in that situation, a homeowner comes to you, you review their loan situation, and you'll actually make contact to the bank on their behalf?
Yes, I submit all the paperwork, and I advocate for the homeowner on their behalf. I will contact the bank. There's several lenders have very specific departments only for nonprofit counselors, so it helps the process go through. And you also gain the benefit of my experience of doing this for over 3 years. So we were, you know, before all of this happened, so we're very experienced.
So you mentioned loan modification, which is negotiating somehow new terms to allow a homeowner to lower their payment. You mentioned short sales. Explain that, please.
A short sale is basically you're selling the house for less than what you owe. So you have to ask the bank if they'll accept the offer. There's a paperwork process where they'll send out an appraisal, and they'll decide if they'll accept the price. If they do, they'll accept less, and normally, as a general rule, they'll forgive the difference, and you just walk away from the home. You sell it. There's two. It used to be where you would get a 1099 that you would file with your income tax, and there's a way, if you had an accountant, would be able to show you insolvent, so you wouldn't have to necessarily pay those taxes. They did pass an act, Congress passed an act that you don't have to pay the tax, but there's specific terms, so it depends on your mortgage. But yeah, that would apply, where you wouldn't have to pay.
So how do you find out about the terms? Would that be through you?
The terms.
So the specific terms where you wouldn't have to pay.
Well, you have to go through the law. We actually, on our table outside, we have the specifics of the law, so if it would apply to you. If that part of the law didn't apply to you, then you would have to find an accountant who would do your taxes and show you insolvent. Otherwise, if neither of those things worked, then yeah, you would have to pay.
The question, if you didn't hear it in the back, is that if the bank forgives debt, you technically have earned income according to the IRS as a result of that debt being forgiven, and so therefore you have to pay income tax. So you owe the bank money, the bank allows you to sell the property for less than what you owe, and then the difference is considered income tax, and you have to pay taxes on it. So you wind up, getting a break over here and then getting hit over there. And I guess Stephanie was saying that there are certain programs where, because that makes no sense, the whole point here is trying to help somebody out of a financial pickle, that those taxes could be waived in certain circumstances.
Where you wouldn't have to file them with your income taxes, right?
Okay.
You wouldn't have to pay the income tax on them. It's the same as if you settled a credit card debt for less than what you owed and they send you a 1099 because it's considered income. Then you'd have to file that with your taxes. But there's a couple of ways around it. So I'd say most people wouldn't have to worry as much about that.